Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LFC Roundtable podcast. This is the podcast where we break down everything from the feeds. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today is Melissa Deni. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm good. It was a pretty uneventful and then eventful day, and I was very enthralled with the current events going on, aka the House meeting. It was very House meeting. There's been a lot of House meetings. It's been a lot.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that there will be a segment during this podcast where Brent spends 20 minutes talking to us about how it's not fair that he bought stock in somebody and that person might be going home. By the way, with us, as always, Brent Wolgamott. How you doing, Brent?
Yeah, I really nailed that one, didn't I? I mean, when I said,
welcome to my world,
right? I was like, all the shit that I gave Melissa last week about buying Jesse, and then immediately having to be like, I'd like to trade that stock. Now all of my chickens are coming home to roost.
Yeah. Also, I bought Marin last week, and now look at me.
Yeah.
Wow, better than me, at least.
You two bought the two people on the that's impressive, actually.
Isn't that? Yeah. We have a plan. We have a plan. When we get to the stock watch, I have a plan. So I just that's a teaser.
Yeah, I'm the one taking risks here, doubling down on people, where I can't shove all my stock off of Johnny at this point, but you guys are the ones in trouble, which does it really surprise many people? I don't know.
Moving on.
We are here live on a Tuesday evening night, kind of. It's 5:30 here in Reno, where I am.
Me too.
I'm on Melissa time.
Yeah.
So we are here. It's 8:30 Eastern though, and we're here to argue about the live feeds on Big Brother Canada 6, as we are every single week on the Big Brother 6 season. We have the chat room open on robhasawebsite.com. You can send questions in to me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran if you so desire. Let's get into this, guys. Let's start talking about the week in Big Brother. We have Erica as our HOH. She won that HOH competition. She immediately wanted to target Maddie. Maddie was her target. She wanted to put up Marin beside Maddie and have Maddie go home. But Ali, Olivia, and Kayla had other thoughts. They wanted Veronica. I almost called her Victoria. They wanted Veronica gone. And they wanted to get their way, Melissa.
Yes, they did. Honestly, I was really excited this week seeing all this play out. It was kind of exactly what I wanted to happen. I didn't want Marin or Maddie going home. I've seen Veronica as essentially the villain of the season, in my mind at least. She's the person to root against because she's just crazy. And also I just felt like I didn't like the way she was lying to Jesse all last week and then laughing about it behind his back and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, this girl's a villain. We got to get her out. But now that she's potentially going out, I'm thinking to myself, I kind of want her to stay because she just brings so much to the game and she is the absolute best person to root against. It was it reminded me of Big Brother 16 when the whole time I was like, we got to get Frankie out. He's horrible. That's all I care about is getting Frankie out. And then Frankie left and it was okay, well, now who do I root against? So now what's going on? Now we're just watching Derek go to the end and that's the story. And I like the idea of keeping her in just so that we can root against her.
I just don't know how she continues on in the game. I don't know how she operates in the game of Big Brother where she doesn't get evicted the second week she's available to be evicted. But we have Ali, Olivia, and Kayla really pushing for Veronica to get sent home. I've talked about this in the updates, but I do believe Kayla is the one that really started the ball rolling the previous week, getting Allie and Olivia to set their sights on Veronica, and then they pushed that on Erica this week, and Erica slowly started to cave in. She was a bit reluctant at first, but she eventually jumps on board. And part of the reason why is because Veronica gives Allie and Olivia an assist by casting a hinky vote in the Jesse eviction that Erica just isn't very fond of, especially given the fact that Veronica continues to lie about this over and over and over. Plus, she lied about Jesse, as you mentioned, Melissa. So just not doing herself many favors here with Erica. And then Erica wins the POV. And she decides, I'm doing it. I'm making a move. I'm backdooring her. First backdoor of the season. We're taking Veronica out. Let's go. What did you think, Brent?
I was here for it. I really was. Even though I bought stock in Veronica last week, I was here for it. I do co-sign what Melissa said, though, that it is nice to have a villain in the house, somebody to root against. I said this about Survivor when Bradley looked to be the obvious boot in the third episode. Spoiler alert. He wasn't. He wasn't the boot. It looked like he was going to go home, but the villain didn't go home. And sometimes it's good for the villain to stick around for a little while. And it's nice to have people to root against. I'm very big on the whole heroes villains thing. I know that this house is far more complicated than that, though. But I do like the fact that Veronica she's a square peg that fits into a square hole for me, and I know what I get from her. And with other people in the house, it is a little bit more inconsistent, or they're not so ideological in their thinking insofar as alliances go. So that's what I have to say about Veronica. And really kudos I will say to Kayla, who continues to impress me. The work that she did last week in fixing her relationship with Allie and Olivia. Then going into this week, it seems like it's only grown and blossomed and paid dividends for her. And I know that Allie and Olivia are aware that maybe Dayla is dabbling in other places, but ultimately I do think that they think that they're most loyal to them. And I think that Kayla has shown to be a very capable player. I'm really hoping she can survive the double eviction.
Yes, and so Veronica has been put on the block next to Marin, and it's looking like she's going home. The votes are there. There's not much hope for Veronica these days, and that's basically where things stand. However, as always with this Big Brother Canada 6 house, the lines are fluid. People are moving around and shifting and repositioning, and that's what we need to talk about next. Because going into this week, last week we talked about a lot of different groups that Hamza had formed, that Will had formed, that Johnny was a part of, and almost all of them have just completely broken up at this point. Leaving us with a whole new field with even weaker lines, I think, which leaves us in a very interesting spot for the double eviction. But let's talk about some of these groups, because I do think that the core group in power right now is this Erica, Allie, and Olivia group.
Which is crazy.
Yes.
Would we ever have expected this? Olivia and Allie are the power people?
Allie was going home if anybody had won other than Hamza last week, and now she is controlling the HOH, and nobody is targeting her. It's a dramatic turnaround. And so I really see this trio. They have a lot of different people attached to them. But this Erica and Olivia, they're really a pair, and they influenced Erica, who is now in on their sort of trio for the week. I don't know if Erica's going to last with the two of them, because they have a much tighter bond with each other than Erica. But then they also have a lot of peripheral people, like Johnny, who they have talked to about creating a 4-person's alliance that they called Johnny's Angels. Like Kayla, who they talked about creating a all-women's alliance that they talked about potentially naming. And Kayla's like, I haven't named anything, which is like the 5th time she said that after naming something. They also have a new deal that happened today with the 3 of them with Johnny, and then Paris and Will. So they're attached to a lot of different things, but none of them are super, super solid, Brent.
Yeah, and I know that you enjoy it very much. It's also enjoyable for me to experience a Big Brother that is the most complicated that it has ever been for me to cover. I do not remember a season, even Big Brother 4 at its best, where I was very unsure of who had allegiances to who, or whom, grammar people, and who out there might be vulnerable in a double eviction. I said last night with Kirsten and Rob on the recap show that any one of 6 or 7 people could go out in the double eviction, and I really don't buy the party line that it's going to be Ryan. So we'll see, but it's been very fun, and I am nervous about some people. Paris and Maddie, I think, are best when they talk less, not more. But I think Paris in particular cannot help overgaming, and I am happy to see that upon reflection that maybe she doesn't have as much power as she may have thought, that she doesn't continue to just, be the bulldozer in the house game wise, and she might pull back a little bit, and that's good. I think it's good to have a part of you in any game or in life where you can recognize your faults and say, you know what, maybe I need to pull back on this one. Maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I was wrong, and she seems to be willing to do that, and I'm here for it.
Yes.
I just feel like every week though, Paris is like making a bunch of mistakes and then being like, oh shoot, like I need to not do this anymore. And then she like stops and then makes a bunch of other mistakes and then realizes it and goes back. And it's just like, what are you doing? Why are you making so many mistakes? I have no idea what's going on with her.
Yes, Paris all over the place, the whole house all over the place, as Brent is talking about, and I am enjoying it. And the good thing about a house dynamic like this is that as the numbers dwindle, and like we're gonna have a double eviction that I think normally we go into a double eviction and the odds are that it's going to be it's going to fall flat, right? Most of the time there's a singular target. Somebody's going to win. It's going to be kind of like a letdown because the one person we need to win doesn't win. I think it's the opposite this time, where there's like maybe 1 or 2 people that would just be like, all right, Ryan, bye. And that would be kind of a letdown. But other than that, I think the odds are very good that we're going to have a very exciting double eviction where the target could go anywhere. And that's exciting. And I think then as the numbers continue to dwindle, given that there are no like major twists to disrupt the dynamic, we won't have this kind of down the stretch game that we often have where it starts to get really boring because there's still going to be so many fluid lines. These people are not only willing to make multiple deals and willing to work with people that were their enemy the week before, but they're also willing to hear that the person they're working with is working with other people and be like, yeah, but I mean, that's what everyone's doing. And so it's all over the place and people are willing to flip, and it's very, very exciting stuff.
It is. I have to say really quickly that after living through Big Brother 19 and honestly looking back on it, I'm like, how did I ever make it through that season?
Oh my God, I know.
So nice to see people that are willing to open their ears and listen to the people that are talking with it. It's nice to see people who are talking to other people and not just taking at face value something that's said. It's also nice to see people who, upon hearing a lie or hearing that maybe their friend who they thought was an alliance member is maybe dabbling in other places, they are not immediately appalled at that. They are understanding and almost empathetic. Well, like, they're doing what they have to do, and I get it. That's just that would be like a hearsay or yeah, that's what I meant to say. Oh my God, that's a hashtag, isn't it? God damn. I knew it wasn't the right word, but I was like, yeah, it just
like, whatever it is.
Exactly. It would never be spoken of in Big Brother 19, and here we are with the double eviction. I wanted to ask you, who do you think is most likely to wimp out and just put Ryan up on the block as a target?
In the double eviction? I think that, that's interesting. Probably somebody like Maddie. Although, I don't know, Maddie's ready to make moves. She just she doesn't always deliver. So... yeah, I don't really know. I think
okay. I didn't mean to give you a pop quiz, but I just wanted your gut reaction on who you think was the most likely to make a weak move upon winning double eviction.
Yeah, they're saying it in the chat. Paris, I think, is probably the answer, but just because she has so many different connections that I could see her definitely being like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's just take out Ryan.
That could happen. She also would be willing to throw it, though. I was very happy to see her willingly throwing the HOH. Erica might want to take some lessons from Paris when not winning when you don't need to.
Yeah, Yeah. So we have this group. They're the power group, the Erica, Ali, Olivia power group. They have all of these different sub-alliances with Paris, Will, with Johnny, with Kayla, which obviously with Kayla comes Derek. And then we have another group. This is they're really, that's the main group right now. It's the power trio, because Erica is HOH, and then they have their subgroups, and that's really, those are the alliances. Then we just have some relationships that are left in the house, like Hamza and Marin, who seem to be pretty tight, but obviously Hamza is a bit of a wild card. So Marin can't really rely on Hamza. But then attached to that, Hamza has a good relationship with Erica, and he also has a good relationship with Will. So they're kind of attached to this group as well, but not in the same way that they're attached in the above group, the Ali, Olivia, and Erica group, because again, those are the alliances, and now we're only down to relationships, because the alliances have all kind of faltered. The Fives Company alliance is shattered. The the Will, Hamza, Veronica, Johnny alliance gone. Everything that was formed last week is basically donezo at this point, Melissa.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, I don't think we've ever had another season, at least since I've been podcasting, where we've gone through and every roundtable had to go through the various groups of people, and every week they kept changing. I feel like that's so crazy that we're having to do this each week. Because it's just, I honestly, from minute to minute, I have no idea who's working with who and who's telling the truth to who and who's going to vote out who. It's like, it's constantly changing, which is, really cool to see, but also very exhausting when you're trying to piece it all together when you're watching. But, it's really fun. It's really nice to see, because I'm so sick of the people just, being loyal soldiers and just marching along beside the people and sticking with their alliance and not going with anybody else and not listening to anybody else. So if somebody who's opposed to you is giving you like, hey, I want to work with you, I'm so glad people are willing to listen to it. It's really so much better.
Especially if they've heard that maybe this person was saying some nasty things about them before. Like, just because you might have said something negative, or maybe you wanted to put us up as a pawn or target us in week one, that it's not something where you immediately cut off conversation. You're willing to hear them out. Like the fact that Paris is even, sort of entertaining working somewhat with Ali and Olivia after previously really wanting Olivia out is sort of amazing to me, but also really encouraging for what is to come. I also wanted to ask you guys what you thought insofar as who is in the most danger going into the double eviction. I personally would think that my top three people for to not survive the double eviction would be Ryan, Erica, and Kayla. I feel like the House, but I don't know if the House would vote Kayla out. I feel like they might save her. I really wish they would vote Derek out. But what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I feel like you're really close in that. I think it's Erica, Ryan, and Paris, I think.
Paris? Okay.
Yeah. But that's like one of those ones where it just depends if she kind of messes up this week, if
That's
she
true.
if she fixes her behavior and then like somehow miraculously ends up okay, then no. But right now it's a little iffy with her. So I just think that people are seeing that she's saying a lot of stuff that isn't quite accurate, and that she's telling people different things. I mean, the whole fact where how she was telling Kayla that Ali and Olivia are like totally coming after her and all this sort of stuff. And Kayla's like, yeah, sure. Okay. But they're not. It's just the way she's going about everything is just not super great. And the fact that she's like thinking of keeping Veronica and going to telling people that, but then also telling people that she's not. And it's just, I just don't think she's playing a very,
why is she doing? Why? What is?
know.
How does Veronica help her game? I understand maybe she doesn't want to do Erica's bidding, but I do not understand why Paris, and I'm sort of like, tangenting, we're going off on a tangent here as far as this discussion goes, but let's talk about it. Why does Paris want to keep Veronica? Because from where I'm standing, it appears to me that it's like the shoe's on the other foot. She's looking at Will going, you know what? I think Will's pretty close to me, but as long as Veronica's in the game, he's probably closer to her. If Veronica's out of the game, then, he doesn't have anybody else, and he's probably going to be closer to me. So it seems like it would be beneficial for Paris to eliminate Veronica from the game, Taran.
It is classic overplay syndrome. She had it right at the start of the week. She wanted Veronica gone before this week started because she knew the position Veronica held with Will, and she knew that getting Veronica out would be beneficial to her game. But as the week progressed, she started to overthink. She started to think about if I can control Veronica, if I can use her as a weapon and have her be this big target in front of me, I can use her to break up other groups. And because I have control of the house, I can make these decisions. And she just really overestimated her position in the house and her ability to control other people, I think. She kind of lost the plot in terms of what should I be doing and how should I maintain my position? I think that's really where it comes from. And I think she started to today realize, okay, I need to slow down. But as Melissa said, it's tomorrow she could change her mind again. And I feel like we go through this every day with Paris, where she keeps toying, she keeps flirting with with danger. She's just getting closer and closer to the sun, and then she goes back down, and then it's all over the place.
Yeah, Andy says in the chat, Andy Pfeiffer, that Paris is not playing well, but is still trying her hardest. And that's the truth. I am happy to see that even though that many of these people are messy, they are playing lights out insofar as the game goes. And after seeing the sheep marching to their slaughter on Big Brother 19, and I don't mean to continue to go back to that, but that really was hard for me to get through. I mean, there were times, Taran, I always make jokes that I don't listen to your Feeds podcast, but that's not the truth. I usually do. But Big Brother 19 was really rough. It just was, there was nothing positive that I could find, and my love of Big Brother was dissipating somewhat, and this has really invigorated it. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from this cast.
Well, it's also really telling that the overnight updates for Big Brother 19 were 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long, and now they're an hour. It's rare to get one that's less than 50 minutes.
That's true. Yeah.
But it just goes to show that everybody's playing, everyone's playing differently, everyone's interweaving these various stories, and it's hard to keep track, but it's so fun because I literally have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, I feel like for all the past recent seasons, you kind of get the boot order already. You already kind of know as the weeks go on, all right, okay, this person's next in line. If not this person, it's this person. And then next week it's going to be this person. And if not this person, it's this person. And it just keeps going until the end of the game when there's the person left who's controlling the game, and then just some random person. And, I'm so happy that we don't have to deal with that anymore or at least for this season, because it was just so boring, so mundane. This is so much more exciting.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I am doing my best to keep the live feed updates as short as possible. I'm really condensing it as much as possible, but I have to walk the line of I also want to make sure everything that's going on. And in order to do that, it has to be almost double the length of the Big Brother 19 ones, because there's so much more that's happening in the house.
Lies. You just like to hear yourself talk.
No, I like them long. It's
all right.
Better. Oh God. Okay, that's enough.
Sorry, that I know for sure. If I was on a podcast with Rob, he'd go "Whoa!" You know how he does that when you say stuff like that. Okay, move on.
I made a face.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Whatever. Enough, guys. I'm not giving anyone any more compliments.
All right. So we also have our final grouping, and this is kind of the grouping that's dying off a bit. And it's this relationship that Veronica has with Will. That they're really the tight pair that's left in the house after Hamza and Marin and the rest of them. Obviously, Derek and Kayla are together, and they're involved in a bunch of different things, but they're kind of accounted for in the other groupings. But Veronica and Will are still pretty tight. They obviously have Hamza attached to them, Johnny, Paris, Maddie, that whole grouping. But this is, as I mentioned, breaking apart as Hamza is campaigning for Marin to stay over Veronica, encouraging Veronica to have house meetings that aren't beneficial to her game. Johnny is starting to see the light and say, I got to stop campaigning for Veronica. This is no good. I need to move over to this side. Paris is obviously waffling back and forth. And Maddie, who is Maddie loyal to? Nobody. And that's her problem. So this group, it's dying. It's in the dying stages. However, I still bring it up because these relationships can be relevant in not only the double eviction, but going into next week. Because again, everything changes. Every time there's a new person in power, everybody is savvy enough to say, if I'm not in the grouping that was good with this person in power, then we need to shift up the groupings because I need to be safe. And that's when they start to rekindle previous things. There's a reason why the Fives company, nobody mentioned it at all until Veronica went up on the block. And now all of a sudden, wait, hey guys, Fives company. So these relationships, they remain relevant. I think they have a shelf life. But this grouping still has some kind of meaning, especially because Johnny does want to bring in Will and Paris from this group into the Erica, Ali, Liv sort of group, and he's really the main reason why they're included at all.
Yeah, and I really think that Paris just needs to let other people do the talking sometimes and game less. I know it must be hard when you're stuck in a house and you want to play Big Brother, and you saw what happened on the previous season. Sort of the same thing that happens with Hamza in terms of, wanting to over-game a little bit. But I like Paris better when she's just a quiet girl who's, sleeping for the first part of the game and, I think would be able to win a jury vote at the end. Maybe not right now, but I think eventually she would be able to build a big enough resume to win over people and enunciate and articulate her position correctly. But right now, I feel like she's just do less. But I know that must be hard when their gut is telling them to do more. Yes.
And so looking at this vote Thursday night, it does look like Veronica will be heading out the door. If we're going to go through votes individually, obviously Ali and Olivia are very solid votes to evict Veronica. Kayla and Derek are also solid votes. Then we've got Ryan, who will do what Erica wants him to do. That's 5. That's done. Erica breaks the tie. Veronica goes home. On top of that, we have Hamza, who I believe will be voting Veronica out to save Marin. Even Will, at this point, has made a deal with Erica, Ali, and Olivia to vote Veronica out, to include him in this alliance that I've been talking about, this Paris, Will, Erica, Ali, Liv, Johnny thing. And so Paris, I think at this point, even though she has been fighting the fight a little bit today, she has sort of accepted that Veronica is going out. She looks like she's going to be voting for Veronica to leave. At this point, it looks like pretty much unanimously, I don't even see a vote for Veronica. And even if the people who are on the fence, like Will and Paris, flip their votes, I can think of those 2, maybe 3, 4 at absolute best. It's really hard to find how Veronica survives this week, Melissa.
I never thought that I'd want her to stay, but look what she did today. She called a house meeting for no reason and just yelled at everyone for a good solid 10 minutes. It was, she's very fun to watch and very fun to root against. I think that initially I was like, I don't get why people like her. I don't understand why people are saying she's fun to watch. She's exhausting. She's not very nice, and she's just not, but then I started to think of her more as someone to root against, and it became way more fun for me. And so it's a really big disappointment that she's probably leaving this week. But who knows? Anything could change. And the only thing is, I don't think her house meeting really swayed a lot of people. I think it was really just misinformed. It was not a good idea at all. Usually house meetings are just already not a good idea, but hers was just to yell, essentially.
Yeah, I'm yelling at you. You're sheep. So give me your vote because reasons.
Yeah. I can't believe you guys would vote me out because you think that I cast the hinky vote. But also the hinky vote doesn't even matter, guys. It's
do it for any reason, but not the dumb hinky vote. Not that.
Right. See, it can't be her fault. I think she did not realize the ramifications of the hinky vote. I'm gonna be real with you. She's like someone off the street who played Big Brother. She really is. She's someone off the street who has seen the show and watched it a little bit and is like, well, why does everyone always vote? Tend to see her you're in the diary room. No one else can see your vote. So So
she even said that in the meeting. Like, guys, you don't even know you're anonymous in there, guys. It doesn't matter who you say you can vote. You're going to vote for. You can vote for whoever you want. Like,
You're like, that's not quite what it is.
yeah, exactly. But that's what, like, if my mom played Big Brother, okay, she would look at it and go, well, why? I'm in the diary room. No one else can hear me. Why can't I cast a vote this way to cause a little bit of a kerfluffle over here? Not realizing that in doing so, you're going to have to deny that you were the vote multiple times in the House. And if you're not good at bald-faced lying to people, and she's not, then it's just not a good idea to do.
Also, one of her big arguments was like, look, the reason why I did the Jesse thing was because, I thought he was staying and then I changed my mind and then he wasn't staying. And so just so you know, in the future, I can change my mind. I change my mind on a dime. I change my mind in a second. And I might tell you that I'm going to vote for you and then I change my mind. It's like, that doesn't give anyone confidence in you or make them want to work with you at all. It makes them think that, okay, so you're just totally unpredictable.
Yeah,
that's what I'm supposed to be going
I will
for?
say that she's not great, and she's freaking terrible. Let's be honest, but she's really more fun to watch than Marin, and he's equally terrible. Last night when things were a little bit up in the air, they weren't really up in the air, but Eric and Allie and Olivia kind of thought maybe they were up in the air. Marin was talking with Johnny, and Johnny was asking him, well, what do you think about you staying? What are you going to be campaigning? He's like, I don't know. I'm probably just going to have to make deals with everybody. Johnny's like, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't need, in order to stay, you don't need to make fake deals with everybody in the house. That's not how this game is played.
You know who's also not really playing this right today, at least what I noticed, is Erica, because she's going around telling everyone, she's trying to combat Veronica's arguments of her being a shield for people by saying, no, Veronica's not a shield. I'm a shield. I am amazing at competitions. I have a much better social game than Veronica. I'm way more strategic. I'm much better at mental comps. And is listing off her accolades. And Marin's at one point, Marin's maybe you shouldn't say that stuff because now it's kind of making it sound like you're a better target and we should get you out. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not going to say this to people. I'm just telling you. And of course, she said it to a bunch of other people. And it's why are you trying to tell everyone you're a huge threat? The whole point is you're supposed to tell people that you're not a threat.
Because she's too cocky. She's been safe for 4 weeks. So she has no real idea that there are people in this house that would throw her up on the block back door in a second and send her out into the double eviction. I can talk about 2, 3, 4 people who would all be willing to get Eric out of the house right now, and she is really none the wiser. I know that she has been making deals with people and has been talking about the fact that, hey, I really need to survive the double eviction because I'm going to be the outgoing HOH. Mm-hmm. But I don't really think in her heart of hearts, Taran, that she believes that she's really all that vulnerable.
She's definitely nervous, and she's nervous about the vote. But you're right that she doesn't know who is coming after her. She doesn't. She hears that oh, is Paris playing us? Is Kayla playing us? She's worried about Johnny sometimes, but she never really truly thinks that she's in any danger. You're right in that regard. She's not playing it as well as she could be, for sure. She's way too nervous about what she's doing. The alliances that she is making, like the one with Paris and Will, she's giving Paris, the reason Paris was still campaigning for Veronica to stay was because she got the vibe from that talk about the alliance that and this is a little bit on Allie and Liv as well, that the only reason they're doing it is because they're nervous about the vote and that they need their votes, which is true. That they're nervous about the votes. Not true that they need the votes. They just don't know that because they're so paranoid about not having the votes. And it's making them look paranoid, which is making them look weak, which is making people feel like, I don't know if I really do want to work with you. So it's an interesting situation there with Erica. And I got to say, I do. I kind of agree with you, Melissa, about Veronica in the sense that she has made for some great feeds and certainly TV, I guess, on that Monday episode, which, by the way, I enjoyed very much. I thought that was a well put together episode. Congrats. Yep. You got one, Big Brother Canada 6.
Yay!
I was on board with that thought, but I feel like Veronica sunk her ship with me when she was talking about the gate crashers. I was just like, I'm done with her. I'm ready for her to go. And to be honest, I feel like this is the right spot where it's like she went in with a bang. She's gonna leave with a bang. She has this house meeting. She's overly cruel. She got backdoored. It was a crazy move, and now she gets to go out before she starts to get boring. Like Devin left at just the right time to become the legend that is Devin. I feel like this is Plur's time. She will always be Plur. She'll always be Pop and Paul. Like she will go down in history in this way. She's not gonna have to. We're not gonna have to like deal with her to the point where we're like, okay, get her off. We don't want this anymore.
Yeah, and she maybe doesn't realize that, but it's true because she's had more of an impact on the game in 3 weeks in the house than many people have who make middle part of the jury. She really has been messy, all over the place, willing to lie at any moment, has no concept of the fact that she might be caught or that people are onto her. I really think being backdoored, I know she feared it and was nervous about it, but I think she talked herself into the fact that, it's not going to happen. She doesn't even have the balls to do it. I think, and I wanted to ask, I did not see this. Did she really say that Erica doesn't have the balls to make a big move? Because I know Allie told Erica that, but did Veronica really say that?
Yeah, I think it was Olivia that delivered the message. So I mean, I don't have any reason to believe that Olivia just made it up completely. But it wouldn't surprise me if Olivia is the kind of person that would like exaggerate it a little bit.
Because that was like perfect. Because I swear when Erica heard that, she was like, "Okay, we're doing this." Like, not that she wasn't ever gonna, but she was like, "Okay, I got you." You know.
Yeah, I think she even said it a couple of times. It's how Veronica operates.
The chat is saying that she did say that. Doom Tribe is saying that she did say that. So that's interesting. You just don't want to tempt fate like that, man. Like if you're somebody who you know could be backdoored, you didn't get the chance to play in the veto. The HOH holds the veto and can change the nominations at a moment's notice. You don't want to smack talk them behind their back. I mean, like, but that's how messy she is, though, and that's why I enjoyed her, and that's why I bought her stock last week.
Yes. All right. Let's get into the stock watch here. I want to. We're getting into it a little early here, and that's because I want to talk about how we're going to go into this double eviction, because obviously we're not going to get a chance to talk through the dynamics of the double eviction as it happens. We're gonna have to wait until next week. So I want to start to, as we talk about each player, I want to talk about who they are going to be targeting heading into the double eviction, and that will play into the question earlier, like who do we think is in the most danger? Where do we think things will go? So if you see this person win HOH, you'll have an idea from us who they could potentially be targeting in this double eviction. Obviously, things are very subject to change. These things are nebulous to begin with, especially in this house. But I wanted to get the snapshot of where they are. And as we do this, I will try to bring up the graphic that I've got here from Alexandra on Twitter that shows whether we were up or down on them in previous weeks and who we bought and so on and so forth. So let's start with Johnny, who has the most amount of stock in him at the moment. I have bought 2 in Johnny, and Melissa has 1 traded from Jesse. And let's talk about him. So Johnny, heading into this week, we were very high on Johnny. He did really well last week. He took out Jesse. He was one of the people that took out Jesse. He was in a very good spot. He continued to be in a very good spot. However, his gameplay did get a little messier. He was, in my opinion, a bit too pouty about the whole Veronica thing. And in a house that is so fluid and dynamic, he was way too rigid in the idea that Veronica was good for his game. He could have easily pivoted, and I think he has started to at this point. And I think that the fact that he has started to so easily goes to show just how easily he could have pivoted if he had chosen to not be so stubborn about it. So I think that he remains in a very good spot, but his gameplay has fallen for me in terms of just how well he was doing before and how many people are talking about his indecisiveness this week as opposed to last week. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, he's down for me this week because I feel like people are talking about him and not in a good way when he's telling them like, look, I'm going to vote how I'm going to vote, but that's okay, right? And they're like, well, no, you're going to have to vote with us if you're with us. So that's not going to work. And the fact that he doesn't want to really agree to any alliances. And I feel like he's so non-committal, and people are really recognizing that. So the fact that people are like, maybe being non-committal isn't such a bad idea, but the fact that people are talking about it and the fact that people are being like, that's kind of weird, makes me think that his gameplay has gone down this week.
Yeah, I agree. He's been very Fencerton, I must say, about the whole house and his place in it. But also, Erica sort of gave him the rope to hang himself by saying, well, you can vote however you want. He took that to heart and was like, well, I'm going to vote however I want. And then Erica's like, no, you, that was just for show. Like, you need to vote our way. I need your vote this week. This could be tight. I really am depending on you. And he's like, again, being dragged, kicking and screaming into not evicting Marin, which is what Johnny would have liked to do. I would rate him down this week. And it's only because he is being talked about as someone who is indecisive and maybe even not loyal or a little self-interested, and also because he's not getting his way this week. This is the first week that Johnny is not going to get what Johnny wants. And I take some pleasure in that.
Yes. So hopefully you guys can see the chart I've got on my screen. As you can see, Johnny, we have been up on Johnny every single week so far. I have bought him twice. Melissa traded for him last week. And so for the first time this week, all three of us are down on him. And that's partly because he was so high. I think it's not like he's in a bad position by any means. I still think he's one of the people in the best position in the best position.
Would anybody send him home during the double eviction, Taran? I can't think of anybody.
And that's the question. I don't think so. It's, of course, double evictions, as we found out last season, anything can happen.
Yep.
And if I was being smart, again, if I was really trying to play this draft,
oh my God.
Okay. I would be trading Johnny and making sure I only had one in each person just in case for this double eviction. Well,
before you do anything, I was just gonna say, like, it's a double eviction, so shouldn't we buy 2 stocks? Like, I think we should have to commit to 2 stocks for somebody, but it's up to you. It's your show. You can run it how you want to run it. I'm just here, I'm just here to look pretty. So
you mean 2 stocks in one person, or we buy 2 stocks because there's 2 people going home this week?
Either one is fine with me. I think it would add a little bit of variance to it, and I enjoy that. So
I like the idea of buying 2 stocks since there's going to be 2 people leaving.
Okay.
I think we should stick with one because we've also got the selling. We've also got trading. We've also got trading to do. So let's just stick with one. That's what they're doing on Reddit too. We don't want to change the rules up on Reddit for them.
Oh my God, I forgot. Yeah, Reddit. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Yeah.
By the way, the chat. This is not my chart. This is Alexandra on Twitter. She has provided us with the chart.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Thank her on Twitter. Great chart. I love the ups and downs. Very easy to read. So Johnny, we are down on Johnny. Nobody is buying Johnny this week. I'm not trading Johnny. Melissa, you're not trading him?
Mm-mm.
All right. So let's move on to Veronica. Veronica, who Brent, you decided to buy some stock in Veronica last week. We have also all been up on Veronica each time that we have talked about her, mostly because she was so low in her positioning, and she had continued to improve her game each week. But then, of course, as soon as that Hinky vote happened, I think we could all agree that's when things started to go downhill for her, especially. Not that she was playing well by any means, but she was on a slow increase from basically dead zero. But now I think we can agree she is on the downslope here.
Yep,
yeah, down on the downslope. By the way, I don't know if you can move the chart a little bit. I cannot see the players' names on the left-hand side, so I don't know if it's possible, or maybe it's just me. You can see it. If you can see it, then it's fine. It must be just my particular setting on how big I have my window. But yeah, I would say I would rate her down, and obviously I'm going to have to trade her since she's likely to go home. I don't know who I'm trading her for at this point. So
you can hold it until we get to that
hold.
person.
I'm going to sell Veronica. Obviously, I'm going to, because I'm going to be using that to buy something else. But I don't know who at this point. So, but I'm off the Veronica train, and I'm doing the Melissa thing, and I'm trading right before they go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Also, we forgot to talk about who Johnny will be targeting heading into this double eviction. I don't think we need to talk about who Veronica's targeting, but I guess we can briefly as well after. But in my opinion, Johnny has been talking about targeting the showmance for a while. I think that that's definitely a possibility if he ends up winning. He also isn't the biggest fan of Ryan. We know he doesn't like Marin very much. So I could see him going that way as well. But I think if Johnny gets power, his move will likely be to take a shot at the showmans. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I don't see him doing that in the double eviction. I don't think he could stand up there on live television, live in quotes. Obviously it's pre-taped. But and name Kayla and Derek as the nominees after being relatively close with them this week. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he would do that. I think he would put Ryan and Marin up on the block and try to finish what he started with Marin from the previous week.
Melissa?
Yeah, I could see that as well. And yeah, like Doom Tribe in the chat says Marin and Ryan with a Derek backdoor, and I could see that happening.
And I'm pleased. And that way, if that happened, I would be pleased as punch for that, because I think that Kayla is a remarkable player, someone who I really enjoy watching, but she is severely handicapped by the fact that she has a showman. So somebody eliminating her boy would be beneficial for her in the game, I believe, even though it doesn't seem like, well, she's losing her partner in crime, someone whose vote she controls. All true, but I feel like her target is already pretty big just for being the great gamer that she is. And if Derek isn't there, I feel like her target becomes much smaller.
Yes, and by the way, I do agree. I don't think he necessarily puts the two of them, Kayla and Derek, on the block together, but I do think that he will want to target them one way or another, whether that means putting up two pawns and then backdooring, or putting one of them up. I think he will want to take a shot. Whether or not he does will be interesting to see. So let's also briefly talk about Veronica. If she stays, who do we think she will go after? I have to imagine it's Erica at this point, right?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, she's gonna. I mean, and plus, it's the TV. It's the total TV move. Like, I stayed and I'm coming for you. Like, I would love to see something like that. She may try to backdoor her. I think there are other people that would be willing to backdoor Erica. But if she managed to stay in the house, I think she would probably do that.
Yep.
All right. That said, if she stays, something must have changed pretty dramatically, and maybe that involved Erica. So,
by the way, really quickly, her only path to staying, insofar as I can tell, is flipping the showmance or flipping Hamza. Those are the only two paths to staying, and that's assuming that she can keep the people that I think might be willing to vote to keep her. But as long as those two paths are cut off from her, she's really up a creek.
Yes. All right. Next, let's talk about Marin. Marin, last week, we were all up on Marin. Not universally. I was down on Marin the first week, but we were all up on him last week. And Melissa, you decided to buy stock in Marin. And then, of course, he ends up being the other person on the block here. Could have come very close to going home. If Erica hadn't decided to make this move, it looked like Marin was going to be the one going home. And he is still on the block. And how he's handled this position on the block. Last week, some people were kind of thinking, oh, we're liking what Marin is doing. He was part of the Jesse thing. He pushed that. He's very not on the radar. But how he's played this week, I think, has put some people off. And I would say his position has, in fact, gone down from last week. He is now seen as somebody that's been put on the block, that's definitely expendable. And his relationships in the house haven't really improved much. He needs something to change. He needs to start being more social or something. He needs to change up his game somewhere, or this is just going to keep going down for me. Brent, what do you think about Marin?
Yeah, his big problem is that one of the best players in the game doesn't want him there, and that's Johnny. So as long as that remains true, I think that Marin is in dire straits. I don't know the mechanism under which he is ultimately evicted. It may be something as simple as Marin and Ryan go up, the veto doesn't get used, and maybe they vote Marin out. I'm not sure, but he hasn't been playing well as far as I can tell. Really, just again, it's so funny that their cover story is that they were just fans sitting in the audience, and then they got super fans and they got pulled up on stage. It's like they were pulled off the street. Honestly, he plays like that. He does not play like someone who is a fan of Big Brother, which is why I was not to beat a dead horse, but I was in favor of the two devils going in the house because they were there to play. People say, well, Maron's, he's nicer, but he's also a little boring, and he's even in his boringness, he's not a fun player. He's not an interesting player to me to watch. He's very paint by numbers in his strategy, and I don't even think he can get that right.
So you're down on him.
Down.
So you're
Sorry.
up on him.
That's an essay answer for voting him down.
Yes. Melissa, you bought stock in him. What do you think, he's up or down? And will you be trading that stock?
Yeah, well, the reason he's on the block is because I bought stock in him. But he's down this week, unfortunately. I was really impressed by his observations last week and the way he was able to read the house. But this week, I just can't get over how he told, Erica to keep the nominations the same rather than use the veto. Like, it was just, it was so dumb. It's
too trusting.
Yeah. It's like, I don't understand what he's doing. Like, he's like, I'd rather the noms stay the same or whatever. It's just, what are you doing? So he's just making stupid mistakes, or I guess they're not even his these aren't mistakes on his part, like these just stupid strategy, I guess. But yeah, I'm very disappointed with Maron this week, so he's down for me. I was considering selling, but I guess I'll just stick with it.
If he wins HOH, Taran, I think that he does Hams's bidding here and goes after the showmans, don't you?
Yes, I agree. I think that's where he will end up going. He is still anti-showmance himself. So I think that's definitely, I think Maron is one of the people that will just straight up put Derek and Kayla on the block. And it will be very interesting to see who they decide to send home in that situation. You agree with us, Melissa?
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted because I was looking at the chat where people are telling me to sell him. And now I'm wavering.
Don't be a Maddie. Don't be a Maddie. Stick to your guns.
Okay. I'll just stick with him. But I would be the first person to lose a stock point if he goes home this week. So, it's a risky move. I was considering selling because it's like, well, it doesn't really cost me anything to sell, and he's on the block, and, might as well. But all right, I'll keep it. Whatever.
You could end up trading that into somebody that's going to leave on the double eviction. So.
Oh, true. Okay, well then I'll just leave it.
All right. So yes, we agree. He's going to go after this showmance there if he wins that double eviction HOH. Let's talk about Paris next, the other person with some stock in her. When we last discussed Paris, we all agreed her game had gone downhill from the previous week. And Brent, you had bought her in the first week. You didn't decide to buy another piece of her in the second week. Where do you stand on Paris now?
Down, and I'm not buying her, but I'm also not selling. I'm going to hesitantly, reluctantly hold on to her because I do believe in her, but boy, she's messy, and she's a squirrel. She just is all over the place and doesn't really seem to have a coherent narrative as to what she wants the people in the house to believe about her. It doesn't seem to be consistent, and I think the positive end of that, it's like, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Other than that, she seems to be willing to correct her mistakes, but then she keeps making them. So yeah. I don't know, but I'm rating her down, but I'm not selling her, and I'm slightly nervous for her in the double eviction, but only slightly. Yeah,
she's down for me as well, and I agree with Brent about the fact that she's not quite sure on what she wants her narrative to be for the house, because she's, she went into it saying, I want them to think I'm dumb. I want them to think I'm easily manipulated. I want them to think this and that about me. But then when they think that about her, she's like, why aren't you coming to me to talk to me about strategy? Like, you think I'm a non-entity? Like, what's going on? It's like, that's what you wanted, right? Wasn't it? Like,
yep.
What's going on? Why do you now want to be known as like a strong force in the game and a big player? Like, that's exactly the opposite of what you wanted. So I just think she's floundering around and doesn't really know what she wants right now. And so she's making these mistakes and she's making these bad calls. And so she's down for me this week.
I'm hoping the double eviction shakes her up and settles her down a little bit. Like, you'll get to game some during the double eviction. They'll have 2 HOHs in the same night. Then they'll crown somebody else. And, Veronica's out. Obviously, somebody else is going to be out, and you're in the jury. So, spread your wings and do something fun, but just pull back a little bit. Again, that's it. I was so into Paris, and I bought her the week that they had that HOH competition about who's the dumbest, who's the most naive, who's the most easily controllable, easily manipulated, and she was crying about it to somebody and then laughing at us to the camera going, ha ha ha, it's so great for my game. I was like, yes, I love that. But now it's like she's incapable of accepting that that's maybe how people in the house view her.
Yes, Paris is a tricky one because I was very low on her last week. I felt like she had fallen very far. But then at the start of this week, I think she was very much on the rise. I think that she really rebounded well. She was in good with everyone. Nobody was targeting her. But then she started to overplay again, and she started to tell Kayla too many things and tell Olivia and Allie too many things and start to campaign for Veronica. And I feel like over the course of the week, Paris has gone way up and then way down again. And I will say, I will go out on a limb and I'll say that the net is still positive for her, for me, from last week, just because I didn't know where she went from losing Jesse and feeling like Will and Maddie weren't really putting much trust in her anymore. I think that she rebounded from that really well. She reconnected with a lot of her people, and she's still not necessarily a target at the moment. That said, I would have felt much more comfortable saying this 2 days ago. I think that she is on the downhill, and a couple of days from now, she could be very far down from last week, but I think she still at the moment remains just a little bit above where I had her last week. So I will say up for Paris. Now, who do we think she's going to be targeting in the double eviction? That's the real question, because not only is she waffling on who is she going to keep between Veronica and Marin, but I have no idea who she plans on targeting. She's certainly not a fan of Ryan. And we talked about how she might be one of the people that would take Ryan out of the game. But she has so many different connections, and she's just so all over the place. I could see her target changing day to day until the double eviction happens. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see her targeting Ryan just to try and make as few waves as possible when it comes to revealing her alliances or her allegiances. So I could see the Ryan thing, but at the same time, like I don't really know.
She ain't gonna win it. She's not going to win the double eviction HOH, I don't think. I think she throws it, so I don't really feel like it's pertinent. Obviously, she could Steve Moses-esque sort of, walk into it somehow. But I don't believe that she's going to go after this HOH. And if she did win it, given how many of relationships she perceives that she has in the house, I have to believe that Ryan would be one of her nominees. Maybe Marin, maybe Hamza if he begs to be put up, somewhere in that vicinity. But I don't see her making any big moves right now, which is why she'll throw it.
Yeah, and another thing to talk about is, like, if they are not HOH, Paris in particular is the kind of person who is she going to try to get targeted? Even if they're not going to win HOH, that doesn't mean that they're not going to try to have a say in what happens. And I think that Paris is definitely the kind of person who would try to have
really
a say.
Quickly, Doom Tribe said in the chat earlier, like, I don't have the comment in front of me, but he said that he thinks the reason that Paris is playing as badly as she is right now is because she's realizing that maybe she isn't as involved in the house decisions as she might have perceived she was or should be, and thus she's forcing it, and that's why she's a little bit messy at the moment.
Well, see, I actually think it's the opposite. I think that she overestimated how involved she was, how much influence she had, and because of that, she started to play like she had that influence when she actually didn't. And I think that's why she had a little bit of a wake-up call today, talking with Johnny, realizing that the votes had swayed and she had nothing to do with it, and she realized, oh, I don't actually have this power. I need to shut my mouth. We'll see how long that lasts, but that's sort of how I see.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that I shouldn't rephrase, or I shouldn't phrase it like exactly he did, but I do think that it's dawned on her that maybe she's not the Netta of the season yet. Maybe she doesn't want to be the Netta of the season. Maybe she wants to be something else, but she's not the gamer that she wants to be to us. And I think she doesn't want to let us down. I do think that there's an element to Paris's game, because she talks to the camera so much, that she wants to do Canada proud. She wants to do people like us proud. And thus, that may be why she's trying to play a bigger game than maybe she's capable of.
All right, let's talk about Erica and how she has done this week. We were all pretty high on Erica last week. She was immune and she played that pretty well, clearly well enough to be involved in enough relationships and alliances that she was able to grab power and retain it and be able to make a move like this without too much fear of repercussions. So she put herself in a good spot last week, but how has she handled this HOH? Has she gone up or down from where she started the week with this HOH? Melissa, what do you think about Erica?
I think she's down this week, unfortunately, because, I was really impressed with the way she played last week. And how she didn't really play last week when she didn't have to. And her name really wasn't in anyone's mouths in terms of who they wanted out. And now I feel like she's in a lot of people's mouths. And a lot of people are saying that they would try and get her out and that she's someone that needs to be taken out. In fact, people were even talking about keeping Veronica in order to have someone to go after Erica. So, I think that she's definitely in a worse position than last week, considering that last week no one was really thinking of her as a major target, and now she's got a huge target on her back. So yeah, she's down for me.
Down for me as well. I cannot believe that she won HOH. She was, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but she, of all the people in the house, was the person that really did not need it and did not also need to be the one directing things insofar as trying to evict someone this week. Her stamp of approval is on the Veronica eviction if it happens. And she didn't need to be that person. She has great bonds with people. People respect her. There was no reason for her to win this HOH. There was no reason for her, upon winning it, to then try to dictate the outcome. So I think, look, I was hoping that when she won HOH that she was just going to put two people on the block who she really didn't care about, who would make the least waves in the house, let the veto play out, don't use it, and have a really boring week. But she just couldn't help herself. And because of that, I believe that she is in a worse position now than she was last week. And I rate her down.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that really just the act of winning HOH alone was enough to send Erica's game downhill. Then she wins the veto as well. And I think that just really puts her in a spot. Like it didn't even matter as much to me what she did with the HOH, because I don't think there's much that she can do to counteract just how much damage winning so much will do to the persona that she has.
Yep.
And obviously, again, every single HOH thus far, except for Ryan, has won the veto along with their HOH. But Erica is now the most recent. She's now the person who has won the most amount of competitions. She's now made this huge move, and there's a double eviction looming. And she's not very good at maintaining a low profile when being in the driver's seat. And that's something that I think Johnny has done well, that Erica has not done well. Erica, when she's immune, when she can lay back, she is almost just as up there with Johnny in terms of being able to keep herself off the radar. But in the driver's seat, I don't think she's been able to do that. I do think she is down this week as well. Now, obviously, she can't target anyone in the double eviction, but if she has a say in who will be targeted, who do you guys think that she will be going after, Brent?
Oh, well, you had to ask me that question, huh? If she has a say in who goes home. Oh, boy. I don't know.
I know that's really hard. I
don't know, but I'm looking at the chat for help.
Well, I think that it really she's basically aligned with the entire house, and that's a tricky spot for her to be in.
But she has enemies and she doesn't know it, though. That's
we should go after Maddie again.
I think that's definitely possible.
That's
I think
a definite possibility.
Maddie or Marin, or
especially after Maddie has been not so grateful upon the veto being used on her.
Yes, Maddie is the person that she's talked the most amount of smack about, especially since using the veto on her. I could very easily see her thinking Maddie is a decent person to go after. So let's move on. Let's talk about Allie. Who, man, we were all down on Allie's position, or at least I was down on Allie's position. Never mind. On week 1, heading into
Yeah, I
week
was like,
2,
it looks like we're all up on
Look,
Allie.
I hadn't brought it up yet, and I assumed that you guys were smart enough to be down on Allie week 1 when she was almost going home week 2. But heading into week 2, we were all high on her position. I think that's pretty much stayed the course for me. I think that Allie has continued to do well. I don't know if she's like improved dramatically her position, but I do think she has continued to steadily improve her position. And I think that that is a good thing for her. I don't see anybody really targeting her, even though they know that she is somebody that's powerful. I do think she might reach a peak soon and that might start her to go down. But for the moment, I see her as continuing to go up. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I vote her as up. I think that she's put herself in a much better position in the game. She has allies at this point, and I think her and Olivia are a team to watch out for because, you know, they're not super huge targets because they don't appear to be huge targets, and they seem like they're not really doing that much, but they actually are behind the scenes. And the fact that they're able to get in so easily with certain people, I think is really good for them. I mean, the fact that they got in with Erica, the fact that they got in with Kayla, the fact that they got in, I feel like they talk a lot with Will. I just feel like, and Johnny, you know, everybody kind of seems to like them and doesn't really view them as a huge threat. And I think out of the two of them, Allie has the mind for strategy much more than Olivia does. Not that we've seen so much of it, but I know that Allie's a fan of the show, and that's what makes me think that. But yeah, I think Allie's strong and nobody seems to be targeting her. So I'm actually going to buy Allie.
Okay. Getting a buy from Melissa on Allie. Is this the traded stock, or are you purchasing Allie?
I'm not trading.
Yeah, I'm the one who has to.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just purchasing Allie. I was going to buy Kayla, but I am too concerned that I actually am a curse. So I am not going to buy Kayla because she's in my draft and I want her to do well.
All right. Brent, what do you think of Allie?
Really impressed. Boy, she has calmed down since she was on the block during the first week. I mean, that must have been terrifying for her. She's a fan of the show, really wanted to be on the season, ended up on the block the first week, and then there are people who were trying to get her out, trying to keep Rosina, and then she's only improved from there. So I am really, really pleased with what I'm seeing from Allie. I am close to buying her. I almost wanna. And you know, I'm gonna buy Allie as well. I really think that she is just, I can think of no one who would put her on the block, and she has improved her game. She doesn't seem to spill the tea too much to people she shouldn't be spilling it to. And I need to buy 2 people tonight, and I'm gonna buy Allie. So Allie's on my list as well.
All right. So Allie bought by 2 people here. I agree. I think that she's continuing to go up, and you know, thinking about it myself, I would certainly consider buying Allie. Looking at the rest of the field, I don't really see anybody, because this is a strategic buy. I like Melissa. I like what Kayla is doing, but I think that Kayla is in a lot of trouble heading into the double eviction. Not really due to her own fault, just like the hole that she's digging out of, she's not completely dug out of it yet. Whereas it's hard to really see anybody targeting Allie in this double eviction, and she continues to do well. I do think she's the safe buy, so I think I'm going to go along with that as well, and go ahead and buy Allie here.
Wow. A 3-person buy all across the field.
Yes.
So maybe you guys will counteract my bad luck.
Exactly.
You'll do well.
I'm preventing the curse.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we need you, actually.
Seriously, both of us on it.
All right. So who is Allie going after in this double eviction? She's talked about targeting Ryan. She's talked about targeting Ryan, basically. What do you think, Melissa?
I'm sorry, really quickly. She used to have a good relationship with him. I don't understand why. I mean, maybe it's because I think what it is it's a consequence of the fact that she's been playing such a good game, is basically aligned with almost the entire house. Nobody really has she's not enemies with anybody, and thus, who would she target? So maybe it is Ryan, even though I really don't think it should be.
Yeah, it might be Ryan. It might be Maddie. It also might be Paris at this point because Paris told Kayla that Liv and Allie were after Kayla and going to target Kayla and Derek. And Kayla told Allie that. And so the fact that Allie knows that Paris is like, I don't trust them. I'm just trying to make them like, I'm just talking to them like I do, but I don't. And they're coming after you, and is trying to convince Kayla to go after Allie and Liv. That might set Allie off like, okay, this girl's coming at me. I need to get her out before she gets me out. So that's a possibility.
Definitely a possibility. I had forgotten about that actually. So that would be concerning if Allie won HOH.
There is another bomb to drop here. Obviously, Allie was informed by Kayla that Paris had been saying that, but that was fine. They still made an alliance after that. Allie is not super concerned with Paris. However, today Paris went to Kayla again and talked about this again. Kayla has yet to inform Allie about this for the second time, and if that happens, I could see Allie really go, you know what, like Paris is playing us hard. We need to target her. And that's honestly why I'm not buying Paris this week, because I think that she is a major player and as somebody who might go home in the double eviction if this blows up on her in the next couple of days. But let's move on to Olivia. The other half of Allie and Olivia. Melissa and I were up on Olivia from last week, and Brent, you've been down on her both weeks. You have not been loving Liv.
But I am on board now. I would rate her as up, and I'm living for what she's serving. And I mean it just like that because she is giving me all of the bitchiness and eye rolls, and doesn't care and doesn't give a flip that I want from somebody in this game. And I don't want it from everybody. I just want it from one person. And I totally stan Olivia. That scene last night with her and Maddie was so well done. I'm so glad they included it. It just gave me life, you know, and I like a little bit of popcorn with my big brother. And honestly, from a game perspective, I do think she's also played better. She somehow made it out of a week where she didn't really campaign all that much, admittedly so, but has tried to formulate some alliances / relationships, and seems to not be on anyone's lips as much as she was the previous week, which is sort of amazing to me. I don't know if it's necessarily a testament to her good gameplay, maybe more Allie's great gameplay for the two of them, but I think she has played well. She's played much better than I thought she was capable of.
Mm-hmm. I'm up on her this week as well. I think she's really turned around her game, and she's got actual allies at this point. And I think her and Allie as a pair are really good together. So I'm really liking what's going on with Olivia. And I also don't think that she's a dummy. I think that she has good ideas and good strategy. And I think that it's a lot more than we all expected from her in the beginning. And I think that, I think she could become a strong player. So, I'm up on her this week.
Yeah, I want to Taran really quickly. I've been down on her so much, not just from a strategy perspective, but also from a TV perspective. Like, wow, how did this person make it on the show? But now I'm here for it. I see. I don't know if they saw this necessarily, but they found a real little chunk of gold when they found Olivia, because she's just giving me life right now. And I think she's very fun to watch. I just enjoy her. And I like the fact that she just doesn't give a flip about these people. Like, they don't mean anything to her. They have no relevance to her life outside this house. You know what I mean? And it's impossible for her to hide that. And I love the fact that she's messy enough where she can't. There's even a scene, the scene last night with her and Maddie, where she was rolling her eyes as Maddie turned to look at her. She kind of covered it up, but I was like, that was a close call.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
I feel like the editors found the right way to portray Olivia. They found the
yes.
niche that works, similar to what they did with Cody, I think, where it's like you got to find the right way to play it to make it work. And I'm very glad that they did, because it does work, I think. And I am also up on Olivia. I think she has continued to improve. She seems to have more vested interest in the game. She is creating more relationships. She is creating more influence in the house. I think she is, again, a person that I think she might be nearing a peak point, which may start dropping her at some point. But for the moment, I think she is on the upswing, and I'm not going to say otherwise yet. So I think she will be on board with Allie. Whatever Allie's doing, I think Olivia is going to concur with. So whatever we said about Allie, I'm going to say also applies to Olivia, unless you guys disagree.
I don't disagree, unless somehow they both end up on the block together. That's where I think Olivia might be vulnerable, but that may not even be true. So anyway.
And yeah, in terms of who she's targeting in the.
Oh, sorry, I was reading the chat, so I misheard you. In terms, I think that. Oh boy, I think she would just counsel with Allie. Like whatever we said about Allie, she's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, okay. So moving on to Kayla. Kayla, who, I think she started the game really strong, and then I think we have all, or Brent and I have been very down on her from her strong position. She's been going down each week. And Melissa, you were up on her the first week and then down on her. I think that she has stopped the free fall this week. In my opinion, I think that she is no longer going down. She has started the climb back up. She is not out of the woods yet, but I do think she is definitely working very well to get herself out of the hole that she fell into. So I'm going to say Kayla is up. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Kayla's up. I think she was in a bad place last week, and now I think that she's found a little bit of footing in the various people that she's been working with, and the fact that Paris still seems to trust her because she tells her stuff about Liv and Allie, and then Allie and Liv seem to trust her. And I really thought that when Jesse was going out, I was like, man, she is going to struggle because he's one of her main alliance members. But she seemed to just find another place for her. And I also think that even though she is a much bigger threat than Derek is, I think people would still probably try and target Derek first. So, I think Kayla's up this week. I was honestly going to buy her for the double. And also, I just think that she's really good at talking with people. She's really good at doing what Maddie essentially can't really do, is that she can just hang out and talk and make you think that she's absolutely with you. And she just gets along with people really well. And, she's doing it all totally strategically. It's not just like, oh, I'm just talking with you and we're getting along. It's like she knows how to get to people. She knows what to say to people to make them come onto her side. So, I just think that she's really good. I like her.
Yeah, I rate her up as well. Really great work by her. I don't want to repeat myself. I've sung her praises enough. She's really from where she was, I think she has shown to be a very capable player. I enjoy very much the fact that she is not giving Paris all of the info like she used to. Doom also brought it up in the chat at the same time I thought of it. The fact that she is holding stuff back from her is a positive for me, because she should hold her cards a little bit closer to her vest. I am not going to buy her, but I do rate her up. But the reason I don't want to buy her because I feel like there are people in the house who would target her right now, and because of that, I'm a little nervous for her going into the double.
Yeah, so you are up on Kayla this week?
Yes, I'm definitely up on Kayla. Yeah, okay.
Right.
She's honestly, she's probably the best player in the house this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, Kayla's biggest problem is she's got a Johnny problem. Sort of like Marin. She just Johnny recognizes what a threat that Showmance is, especially Kayla. Even he realizes that somebody needs to take a shot at them, and he's going to continue to push that until Kayla can neutralize Johnny. And the problem is, I don't think she knows quite yet that Johnny is one of the main sources of her
That
problem.
would be great. If she could find that out, that would be delicious. If she could win the HOH and target Johnny, that would be
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it certainly could come out soon because Johnny has been very vocal about it with a lot of people, and it's that's pretty dangerous for him. So let's move on to and who would she target? I think she would target potentially Hamza, potentially Will, and potentially Ryan. I think that those are the three people. Ryan is the safe pick, but if she wants to take a shot, I think she'll go with Hamza or Will to make a big move in the double eviction. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I could see her going after Hamza or Will. But, you know, I don't necessarily see her winning HOH on purpose just because I think it puts her in too much of a vulnerable place when a lot of people think that she's working with them.
Nah, I disagree. I think she'd go for it, and I think she'd have no trouble throwing those aforementioned people up on the block. I know
I hope so.
Someone else in the chat said Paris. I don't think so. I think she does not trust Paris totally, but I also think that she is willing to tolerate Paris right now and use her at least a little bit longer. So I do not believe that she would nominate Paris.
Yes. All right. Let's also talk about Derek here. Derek, who we've been down on him. We were down on him last week. We've been mostly down on him in general, just because he started again. He is another person who started pretty strong, and just week after week, not only has his game position deteriorated, but just his gameplay has deteriorated. His strategy is basically non-existent at this point. His social game is starting to get more and more lazy. He's becoming less and less of an entity at all in the house.
Taran, stop singing his praises, for God's sake.
I find it difficult to even talk about him outside of what Kayla would tell him to do. So I would say that, man, we were down on him last week. I don't think he's gone further down. I think that Kayla has helped improve his position. So I'm going to say Derek is up, but just his value as a player and his potential going forward, I'm not super optimistic. Brent, what do you think about Derek?
I co-sign that as well. I was going to rate him up as well by virtue of having the good luck or good fortune to be next to Kayla, who is a very, very, very capable player, and she has improved his position in the house and her own position as well. And I think that he is looking better this week than he did last week. Having said that, I do think there is still a mighty good chance that he could go home during the double eviction or even next week sometime.
I think he's down, but only slightly down. I think that I feel like people still recognize him as a threat and nobody seems to really want to work with him that much. So I just feel like he's not in a good place. And I feel like last week I thought maybe he was in a better place because I don't know. I just feel like now he's just not doing really much of anything. I never
talk of him. I talk about Kayla as an individual player all the time outside of Derek. There are things that are Dayla and there are things that are Kayla, but I do not talk about Derek. I know that he's talked with the boys a little bit, talked to Will a little bit, talked to Ryan a little bit, but beyond that, I mean, that's damning with faint praise. So I don't think there's not much to see here as insofar as who he would target in a double eviction. Just whatever Kayla would do, and he'll go and do it.
Whatever we said about Kayla applies to Derek 100%.
Yep.
Let's talk about Hamza, who had a big week last week. Melissa, you thought it was an improvement. Brent, you and I thought it was a downgrade from his previous position. How do we think he has managed this week now that he's out of the spotlight? He is really out of the know now. Not a lot of people are giving him any information anymore. He's also revealed a lot of information. He told people about Five's company, and he revealed even more to Erica. Where do we see Hamza this week, Melissa?
He's down this week, I think, because first of all, he's losing either Veronica or Marin, which they both would have been beneficial to his game to have them stay. Also, as you said, he gave away all that information, and in Big Brother, knowledge is power. So, it's not looking so great for him. At the same time, though, he has pretty much stayed under the radar this week, whereas last week he was all over the place and people were like, this guy, he's insane. And now they're not really talking about him that much, besides the fact that okay, we have to convince Hamza to keep this person or he's the deciding vote or whatever, but not in terms of this guy's got to go. So I feel like that's good for him. But at the same time, he's losing a very crucial ally this week, whether it's Veronica or Marin. So I think that, I think he's down.
I'm going to rate him up, and I feel like I do concur, though, with Melissa in that insofar as him playing a quieter game this week, and that has been something for me to appreciate, because after the monstrosity that was the circus of last week, I feel like a quiet game or a quiet week for Hamza is a good thing at this point, and I feel much better about him being in the house, even though he begs to be put up for nomination. I just think it's sort of disarming to people where he's like, please, I beg you, put me on the block. And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know that there's anyone that would grant him his wish,
I like how a quiet week for Hamza is begging to be put on the block, revealing all of the alliances he made the previous week to everyone, and pushing Veronica to do a house meeting. Like that's a quiet week.
It is, though, don't you think? Don't you think, Taran?
It's a quieter week for sure.
Okay, thank you. I feel like I just talked less about him or thought less about Hamza this week.
Certainly. I will say I am down on Hamza. I think he really let a lot of the work he put into last week go to waste. So really just the target of that week lingers on him, but the benefits have just completely dissipated. I think the thing that I was saying was the most glaring fault was his blind spot to Ali and Liv, not making a good enough connection with them, and allowing Kayla to swoop in and get that relationship in play. That has really come back to haunt him this week, and I think will continue to haunt him, especially as he's just basically lost every other connection that he's made, or that he forged last week, or at least most of those connections. So I'm going to say Hamza is continuing to go down. I could see him being somebody that's targeted in the double eviction, but I do think that he will be targeting the showmance. No qualms about it here.
No qualms about it. Unless somebody talks about it a little bit more, and all of a sudden he realizes, oh, maybe that's not such a big. That's the expected move for me now, and I don't want to do boring stuff. Oh, whatever.
Yes. All right. Let's move on to Will. Will, an interesting person here to talk about. His game has been a little all over the place. We agreed last week that it had gone down, that targeting Jesse in the way that he did was not good for his game. I think that has played out this week. I think that he has lost a lot of power. His positioning has decreased from the first week that we talked about him, but where has it gone from the beginning of this week into the future? I've got to say, I think it's improved. I think he has made some strides. I think that the relationships that he is starting to form with Ali and Olivia are going to benefit him. I think that Kayla has not talked about targeting him as much as she has in the past. She's no longer talking about him as this big threat that he was to her before. I think that she still will be targeting him, and I think that he still is in a vulnerable position that he left himself in last week. Like last week, I think he plummeted, and this week I think he's a little bit up. I think he's starting to rise back up, and he's still in a lot of danger. But if they let him live for too long, then I think he will start to build his empire back up, only to probably destroy it again. But that's where I see Will. Melissa, what do you think?
I think he's down. I think that he's losing an ally this week, whether it's Veronica or Marin, and most likely it's Veronica, and she was like his biggest ally this in the game. So I think he's down, and I think that he's I just don't think he's making the right moves. I think that people are viewing him in not a good light. Hamza went and revealed the Fives Company thing. I just feel like he's not in a good place, and I don't think he's doing a very good job of getting himself out of that bad place. So, I have to say I'm down on him.
Yeah, I agree with Melissa. I'm down as well. I am encouraged by the fact that he's at least willing to let Veronica go. Those words escaped his lips, which was nice to see. Because he was so intransigent about not changing his mind insofar as evicting Jesse last week. So it was nice to see that once he realized he was running into a brick wall, he was like, well, maybe it's a good idea for me to let Veronica go. Paris, what do you think? I was like, oh, okay, that's progress. But having said that, I do think he is in danger in the double eviction. He could be one of the people evicted, and I don't like his position in the house. He also has a bit of a temper sometimes, and I feel like that may get him into trouble in future weeks as well.
Yes, and who Will is going to target in the double eviction, I think, is very up for grabs at the moment. I think he was after Erica because of the move that Erica made to target Veronica. However, because he's made inroads with the Ali, Olivia, Erica alliance, I think that may start to slow his roll a little bit. I think Will might be back onto the showmance. If I had to guess, I think Will be targeting the showmance in the double eviction, and that's why Kayla and Derek might be in some trouble here. Brent, what do you think?
Yeah, I would concur, and that would be. I would not like to see that. I hope that I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't want Kayla to go home. I would be fine with Derek went home though. So it's sort of like if I can have my cake and I can eat it too, then I'm okay with it. Like it's okay if they go up on the block, but I want him to go home, not her. To have Kayla go home in a double, no less, and to have to live with Derek because at that point he wouldn't have a showmance, and he'd be by himself. So his target would be like really small. Plus he's a total idiot. Like he would be in the long haul for the game, and that would be just terrible. So no, but I agree that he would target them as well.
You agree, Melissa?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Ryan. And
bye,
Brent,
bye, bye.
I'm very curious about.
Bye.
Oh, okay. I was
go ahead.
very curious about who Brent was trading in for, but I guess it's Ryan. Tell me about Ryan, Brent.
I am still convinced that people will not evict Ryan during the double eviction. It's going to be seen as a weak move, and I don't believe that anyone would be willing to do it. However, I have a method to my madness. Chat, shut up. They're already coming for me. Here's the thing. Melissa and I have cursed people week after week in this game, and thus, if this happens and I buy him, which I am, and he goes home, I can accept that. Like, I can accept losing this stupid game and losing a point. Well, I wouldn't lose the game, but I'd lose a point.
Just to have him leave.
Just to have him leave. Just to have him leave. But I do think that he has been, when he's not HOH, he is quiet as hell. So I think that he actually will stay in the game. That's not really what I hope. I'm kind of trying to screw myself here, you know? So anyway, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, Taran. But I am moderately positive on Ryan, and I just don't believe people would target him. Maybe you can convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially because people are all about making big moves, and I don't think people would see him as a big move anymore.
Right. In front of Arista and a live audience, you're gonna put Ryan up on the block. Yeah, come on.
So no, I think he's up this week as well, especially because mainly because he just kind of faded into the background this week. I kind of even was forgetting he was in the house. So, and that's a huge positive for someone like Ryan, who was just really out in the forefront and everyone was so annoyed with him in the beginning. So I think this is like a much needed improvement on his part. So yeah, I'm up on Ryan.
Can I rate him down and also buy him? I'm just kidding.
You can probably.
No, I'll rate him up. I'm gonna rate him up, and I do buy him.
Well, I will rate him down. I do think that this week he has gone down a little bit. I think that he had risen a decent amount from before. I think that not a lot of people were targeting him. I think going into this eviction, there is a lot of talk of maybe we should target Ryan. He just, no matter how quiet he is, he just can't escape the vision of these house guests, and I think that's going to be his downfall, especially in a position where people are scrambling and they just need a safe target. I think that could really come in and bite Ryan. So I'm gonna be down on Ryan this week.
Yeah, just to be clear, I think there's a mighty good chance he could end up on the block, but I don't believe he would go home. I think he could be the pawn. I think he would be a pawn.
Yes, and I think he will go after the showmance.
Yes,
I think he'll make that move.
Yep.
Okay, finally, let's talk about Maddie. Good old Maddie. We were all down on her last week. I think we can probably all concur that she's continued to go down this week. Yep. Being on the block was not great for her.
Yeah, so boy, Melissa, I've never seen somebody on Big Brother who I really had high hopes for as a gamer, and I do have high hopes for her as a gamer. But insofar as the social dynamics of the game, she seems to be really handicapped and lacking in that department. I was it on the Feeds update or last night when somebody said that, or maybe it was Kirsten who said that talking with Maddie is like she's up for a job interview or something. If she's trying to form a relationship with somebody, she just doesn't seem to have the fuzziness, the warm and fuzziness that I feel like somebody like Kayla does have, for example. What do you think, Melissa?
Yeah, and I think that she doesn't really have the ability to like mold herself to whoever she's talking to and change her vibe with whoever she's talking to. She kind of is just the same with each person. I feel like that's something Kayla does really well, is when she's talking to Allie and Olivia, she's very different from when she's talking to, Will or Derek or someone like that. And I think that that's really important. I think Erica has that ability as well. She can kind of adapt to whoever she's talking to. And I just feel like Maddie hasn't really been doing that. And it's kind of surprising because I didn't get that sort of vibe from her interviews. I felt like in her interviews, she seemed good and impressive and I didn't see anything wrong. And it's that she can't vibe with the people in the house, but I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like she's not adapting very well to each.
She seems to have a wall, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She seems like she's not great at getting to know people. Like I remember the interview and she was talking about like, well, I'm going to need a showmance. I'll use the showmance. I'll cut him in the black. All sounded great on paper. But that's not Big Brother. I mean, that's part of it, maybe even a smaller part, but the social dynamics of Big Brother are such that you need to be able to get along with people and at least fake letting your walls down, let them think that you're being vulnerable with them, that maybe that they could believe you. And I find that people have trouble believing Maddie, Taran.
Yeah. I mean, Maddie is I think like the game bot of the season, if you want to use that term. She doesn't really go personal very often. She always just talks about game, but she never talks about concrete game. She's never, settling down. She's never like laying down foundations for things. And it's really harmed her. And I said this morning, I think that she is the kind of player that, toward the end of the game, this can work. This can work well for her. I think that this is the kind of thing that can be very dangerous once the numbers dwindle down. But I think that right now, I don't even know if I see her making it that far because it's not well suited for the kind of play that is happening in the house right now. And she has not been able to adapt to the house. That's all bad.
The person who runs her Twitter account, how well do they know her and what do they think? I mean, because surely they see this. I am a Maddie fan and I see it. So they must.
I think it's her best friend. I mean, obviously they're not going to be like critiquing her game, but I feel like she was very nervous for her this week.
It's really weird though. I feel like the person who's running her Twitter account is like super funny and like great and everybody loves the Twitter account. And it's like, I just feel like Maddie's not really giving us anything.
Maddie's nervous. Really. She's nervous. Maybe once she makes jury, she'll be better. I don't know, but maybe not. Usually people like that just continue on the way. Like they're afraid of not making jury, then they're afraid of not winning the game. So she should see the glass as more half full.
It's so odd to me. I don't. It makes me like, I don't get it because I remember when she was like, oh, I want to have a showmance. And then she went in the house and then she was like, well, that didn't work out. And I was thinking like, oh, okay, it's just that, she didn't vibe with any of the guys. And then it's like, but she also doesn't have any like girlfriends either. So, or guy friends. So like, what's the deal? Was it just that she didn't vibe like showmance wise with a guy, or was it just like she just didn't vibe with anybody? And I don't know what it is because like, she seems like when she's talking to the cameras and stuff, like I feel like I'd get along with her, but I don't know why she's not forming any sort of bonds with anyone.
What do you think, Taran? I feel like when she talks to the cameras, I do sense a little bit of a nervous energy from her. Like I'm not seeing the real Maddie, So what do you think?
I think what it is that first scene we saw of her on the feeds where she was in the snow talking to the cameras about how much she loves this game, how much she appreciates that she's here, and how she can't really share that with the other house guests. And I feel like that part of her, because when she talks to the cameras, I feel like this is the Maddie who is best friends with the Twitter person that runs her
Right.
account. Like this is the Maddie that we all liked from preseason, that we all continue to like as a person, but nobody is seeing that in the house. And I think that's because she's really holding back a lot when she's talking to them, because she thinks that she needs to have that wall, to hide that part of herself. And I think that she really just needs to let that go and be herself and just be Maddie, because I think that she has a great personality, but she's not letting it show. And I think that's really harming her. So,
Definitely.
Yeah. Insofar as who she would target, Maddie for HOH, who you got, Taran?
It's an interesting question. I think Maddie is, again, somebody who doesn't really have a set target in mind. It will depend on, how the week plays out. I think that she is definitely not happy with what Erica did. I could see her potentially going after Erica. I don't know if I think if she went after Erica, I don't think she would settle for Allie or Olivia. But I think she would potentially want that. And then obviously Ryan is an easy target. I don't think she would want to go after Ryan. She has a halfway decent relationship with him, but this is Maddie, so she may end up caving and going after a Ryan or a Marin.
I love Jeff WB in the chat said, I wish that Maddie would throw an apple at someone. Like that's kind of where I'm at with her too. Like I wish she would just kind of snap out of it a little bit and do something crazy, and that just really made me laugh.
All right. That's the stock watch for the week. Brent, you ended up getting Ryan stock and Allie stock. Melissa, you and I both bought Allie, and the rest stays the same. Very interesting stuff this week. Glad we got to talk it through. We've got a few questions now before we start to wrap the show up. One from Tom Palmer on Twitter, who asks, how does this season's pre-jury rank among past pre-jury phases? And I will say for myself, it's up there. I think this is very good. I think it beats basically any season with a major twist that happens in the preseason. It reminds me a lot of Big Brother 10, that pre-jury season. I'm very high on it. Brent, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm very high on it as well. A lot of people who are going are people that I will not miss. And I'm getting, like, all the people that are left in the house are really, really fun. So I'm very happy with it. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, I think the lesser players who are going, maybe you could argue Jesse could have been a player, but I never really believed in him. So I feel like that I've been getting what I want out of this pre-jury, and that's why I enjoy it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot. I think it's really fun. I've not been enjoying the episodes. I'm not going to lie. I feel like they're not showing any of the fun stuff, and instead are just acting as giant, like, hour-long commercials. And I get that they need like product placement and all that sort of stuff. Like, I totally get it, but do it in the form of a cool veto competition, like the Wendy's one, where they had to cut the blocks of ice and stuff. I mean, I feel like that's fine for product placement, but I hate these like Hasbro game things. Like, okay, do a veto competition where you have to participate in a giant life-size Hasbro game. You know what I mean? Like, do something like that, but don't do these giant segments of these ads that I literally am just feel like I'm watching ads at this point, and I don't feel like I need to or want to watch the episodes at all. Like, I know and that's like kind of harsh, but I don't feel the need when I'm getting way more information from the feeds and getting literally zero information from the episodes, and all I'm seeing are just ads, and I don't need to see that. I don't need to see them playing a game. I don't need to see them eating Wendy's. I don't need to see any of that, or going to see a Tomb Raider whatever movie. I don't need to see any of that. So I'm getting like so fed up with the episodes, and so like the pre-jury itself has been great, super fun, awesome, amazing strategy, really cool stuff. The episodes, just so bad, just so awful. And if I was somebody who didn't watch the feeds and was just watching the show, I'd be like, what even is this anymore? And what is the point of me watching it? So yeah, just had to say that. Yeah,
I think that if we didn't have feeds, I don't know what show we're watching. I don't
No
know.
idea.
This is not exactly an engaging show. I think they it's almost to the point where, like, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think that they I think that they struggle to put together a coherent narrative. And it's something that the Big Brother US editors have had a long time to like hone their craft. And they are able to get in product placement and all their goofy segments and pranks while also showing most of the relevant points. And Big Brother Canada, they just really struggle to do that. I think they're too used to either having a very simple game to edit because their twists make the game simple, or really just creating their own narrative. And usually that works because they have a really big character that they can build up, like Sarah or Cassandra or whatever, or Aika, who like everybody loves that person, so they don't mind that the edit's like really just heavily focused on them. But with this season, with so many interesting people and such an interesting dynamic, they can't really focus on one people. So it's becoming even more obvious to everyone watching that they're really struggling to keep up. And I will say, like I said at the top of the show, I think that they did a good job with Monday's show. I think that they managed to create a coherent narrative there. They managed to get their product placement in. That was kind of a weak point of the episode for sure. But, I think they have improved, and I hope that they continue to improve. And I hope that they continue to make I think what they really need to do is incorporate the product placement more into the story of the show, right? So like if they're playing catchphrase, include a moment where Veronica makes somebody angry. Obviously Veronica wasn't playing in that particular game, but just keep it, don't make it seem like we're watching a commercial break. Make it seem like we're watching catchphrase in the Big Brother 6 house where Veronica is about to get backdoored. And I think that is where you can succeed with that sort of thing. So I haven't given up hope yet. They still give us the feeds, which means I am still fully invested in this season. I'm loving it. It's just the thing where it's like, I don't want them to come out and say our ratings are down, that's why we need twists, that's why we need to shake this thing up. No, it's the editing. Let's focus on that.
I will say that I don't think, and knock wood, I don't think we're going to get some shitty twists this year. I don't think that. I know something's going to happen from the Have Not room. I know that. But I'm sort of expecting that. I mean, there's always something, and they should be expecting that. I mean, look, real tea. If I'm Paris and I'm looking at that thing, you gotta think that there's something in there, and that anytime anything happens with that stupid room, that there's going to be something happening in the game. And as long as you are not anyone's number one target, you should be fine. Big Brother is a tough game. I think our former live feeder Alex Kidwell said on Twitter that the best part about Big Brother over Survivor is that you can be in a 10-1 majority, but if that one person wins HOH or has power in the season through a twist, you just have to make sure that you're not their first or second target. You just have to make sure you're third, fourth, fifth, somewhere in that thing. That's always what Steve Moses did very well. It's always part of an alliance, but he was never at the top of the alliance, so that if that alliance ever got targeted, he was never going to be the person that went home. So I feel positive about this season. I am less positive about the editing. However, they did do a good job on Monday night's episode last night, and I'm hoping, I'll say this, given how I have talked about how complicated this season is strategy-wise and personality-wise, I feel for them insofar as editing this show into a coherent 45 minutes, Taran.
Yeah, I mean, I am the first person to say that I do this on a daily basis, and I try to make these cuts. I know, and that's why I do think it's not on purpose. I think
they need to hire you because you do video editing. They need to hire you, and you love the game. So that would be great, because then you'd be up there and I could take over the show. So it's a whole plan.
I would podcast from the editing booth.
I also feel like they're not. It's not only that. It's that they're trying to edit the show like these crazy weeks that are like a ton of strategy and a ton of stuff happening down not only into like 45-minute episodes, but into literally 20-minute episodes, because the rest of the time is being spent watching people play Hasbro games. Like I
think that's unfair. I
don't think so. I think
it's a necessity. I think that like they came back because they were like, we'll promise you like half of our airtime. So I think that that's what it seems like. So I think
it doesn't seem that bad to me. It seems like 5 to 7 minutes, which it can drag on. Yeah, okay.
But I think what they need to do, because if this is a necessity, I think they, like I said, I think they need to incorporate it better into the storyline.
Right, that's what I'm saying though. Is like that's fine, and if they want to do these product placement stuff, do it as part of a competition, do it as something like that, or do it as a situation where, and like the fact is okay, they do these game night things and that's fine. But make it so that it's like the HOH has to pick like this person and this person and make that part of it. Like the HOH, you know how the HOH gets to pick however many people they want to include in their game night? Make the storyline around game night about that, about the fact that like they want to be part of game night and they're doing it as part of the strategy so they can also talk during game night with these certain people or whatever. You know how they do it in Survivor with the rewards stuff. It's like, I'm going to pick this person and you get to go with me and we're going to like talk strategy while we, I don't know, play Hasbro games. I don't know. But like something other than just like, we're all invited to a pizza party where we play Hasbro games. And like this, like, let's just play a whole game of like 20 minutes of us playing this game. It's just like, it's too much for me.
I feel like they're missing an opportunity to get it in as a have-not thing. I think like that would work, that they could somehow put in Hasbro insofar as a have-not competition. Maybe not every week, maybe, every third week or every other week, something like that. I feel like that's an easy place for it to go. They could do something Hasbro-esque. I mean, look at what they did for the newlywed thing. I mean, it was just sitting on a table and answering questions with the little cards that they held up.
And I don't mind the Wendy's thing, by the way. The thing where it's like you get to pick one person and then you can talk with them as you're eating Wendy's or whatever. I mean, because I think that had a big impact on Derek when Hamza invited him.
Right.
I like that. That's fine with me. If they want to be talking about their delicious, whatever, Dave Thomas burger or whatever, that's fine. But also make it a part of the game. Like I picked one person because I knew that I needed to get to this person and talk with him and figure out where his head's at. And have the, okay, cool, we talk about how delicious it is, but at the same time, we're talking about some sort of strategy or having some sort of impact on the game, not just nothing.
Yeah. Also, I think, they're great at making really cool competitions. Why don't you incorporate these games into the competitions? Make a cool Twister HOH.
Saying, yeah.
Make a, catchphrase, like
as
a big
part of
version
a competition.
Of it. Exactly.
It's so easy. Like they did that with the Wendy's thing. Like honestly, I'm all for Wendy's and not for Hasbro so far because, I liked the Wendy's competition where they had to hit the ice blocks, like that was cool. That was fun. And I was all for, let's keep talking about Wendy's throughout this whole competition. That's totally fine because it's fun to watch, but make it something about the game.
All right, let's answer another question from Callie on Twitter who asks, if Derek leaves in the double, what are Kayla's chances? Sorry, moving forward.
Got all choked up talking about her. What are Kayla's chances moving in so far?
I'm running out of steam.
What are Kayla's chances for the game? I think high. I think really high. I think that she could be someone that is targeted eventually, but as long as Erica is in the game, I don't feel like Kayla would go home if Derek is ultimately evicted 2 nights from now. So I was close to buying Kayla stock, but show me a world where Derek's not there and I would really buy it.
Yeah. No, I think Kayla has a really good chance because I think that while she is possibly getting targeted soon, or at least people are talking about targeting her as part of the showmance, I think that she's really good socially. And I think that it's totally possible that she could talk her way out of whatever bad situation she's in. So, I have a lot of faith in her.
By the way, Kayla is the person and the player that I thought Maddie was going to be. Like the way that Kayla plays is how I thought Maddie was going to be, and she just didn't. So
I saw her. That's why I picked her as my first pick.
Yes. And I think the inverse is also true. I think that if Kayla leaves, I think Derek's game will improve. And that's kind of going out there because I think that Kayla improves Derek's game a lot with her strategic input. But I think that Derek becomes a complete non-threat that's also very social. And I think that he will have a very different game, but I think one that will be, I think it'll be longer lasting than if he sticks with Kayla and just is a meat shield. I know, and it's not a promising thought because I don't think he adds much to the show at this point. But I think it might be true. We have a question from Felix on Twitter who asks, "Who do you think will win the war in the Paris, Kayla, Johnny? They call it the hate triangle. I think they're the 3 pillars of the game right now. But they are all kind of at war. They never really see that they're like who they're fighting, but they are the three people that are really fighting each other the most. And they seem to have the most amount of influence here or there, and then they destroy each other's influence. It's all over the place. But Melissa, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win this ultimate battle?
Well, I hope it's. Wait, it's between Johnny, Paris, and Kayla, right?
Yes.
I hope it's Kayla. She's in my draft. No, but it's really tough. I don't see Paris winning, to be honest. And I think that some of the stuff I've seen from Johnny lately hasn't been very promising, whereas I feel like everything I've seen from Kayla has been promising. There hasn't really been any, knock on wood, big giant missteps on Kayla's part, whereas there's been some situations and some things that have happened where I've been like, what the heck, why did Johnny do that? Or what the heck, why did Paris do that? Whereas I haven't really said that about Kayla, and I kind of already see, I kind of understand where Kayla's coming from wherever she does something. So yeah, I think it would be Kayla. I mean, unless they just flat out target her right away. I mean, who knows? But I'm for Kayla.
Yeah, I'm for Kayla as well, but I have to say I've been very impressed with Johnny. I don't sing his praises very often because he does seem to annoy me sometimes, but he has been playing a better than good game, if that makes sense. I don't think anybody is targeting him, which is amazing to me considering he won both HOH and veto in the same week during week 1, and is. But on the flip side, everybody seems to want to include him in whatever they're doing. But even in doing so, they don't realize that he is one of the power players in the house. So I could certainly be Johnny. I don't know what, and he also doesn't get really mad at people. He doesn't like annoy them. I know he annoyed Erica with being a little fancy Venserton and Olivia as well, but that to me was a rare misstep.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think that Paris can't win the battle. I don't think she has the chops. She tries and she fails. That said, I think that Paris, the cockroach, might outlast both Johnny and Kayla, who both have their own flaws in their own ways. And Johnny and Kayla may end up taking each other out, leaving Paris in the house as the ultimate victor, even though she wasn't the one that took them out herself. I think that's definitely a possibility. And that's where I'll say. That's where I'll stand. So we'll each say someone different, and I like that. All right. Do you guys have anything else to say before we start to wrap this up here?
I think I'm pretty good. By the way, I think it would be great if they hit a clue in a Hasbro game. I just, the best twist ever was Allie during Big Brother 2, where she had to go around the house and the feeds were on and we followed her. I mean, like, I was on the edge of my seat and she had to go back and read the clue, and then she had to, she had to, like, pretend to be like doing her feet in the pool to try to get the hockey puck. All of that was just great from a Pete's perspective. And then seeing her have that power, and is she going to use it? Is she going to use it this week? Is she going to save it? That kind of stuff. And eventually she does. It was enough of a twist that I do not believe was unfair. And it's also a twist that I think would be really, really fun for the audience. So I hope that whenever they do reveal this twist, and it's going to come, that it is something fun for the feeders to play along with. That would be great.
Yes. Let us know if you have a hashtag for this episode. Although I do like hearsay. Hashtag hearsay.
Yeah, somebody tweeted me and said that I think the word you're looking for is heresy or blasphemy. Blasphemy was actually the word I was looking for, but I couldn't find it. So then I said hearsay, but that wasn't the right word either.
You were going for blasphemy, not heresy, but you ended up with hearsay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, make sure you check out my update tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific here on the West Coast.
You're getting up at 7 a.m. to do this thing?
It's what I did this morning after,
Rob doesn't pay you enough. Oh my God.
Well, that said, I reserve the right to postpone it until 10 Pacific.
Yeah. What were you doing? What were you doing earlier today, Taran? Do you want to tell people, or we can't tell people what you're doing earlier today? You were gambling.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He's like, what was I doing?
You were gambling craps. The robot actually decided to play some craps, so I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, right before I came up to do the podcast.
Yep, lost your money.
I did lose some money, but having some fun here in Reno. So make sure you check out the update tomorrow morning, and then of course Thursday night after the double eviction, we will be live talking about the everything that goes down on that double eviction. Very, very fun stuff. Hopefully, will be going on. We'll see who's around to join us on that podcast, and make sure you check out my Taran Show interview with Kirsten. Very, very fun stuff. Really recommend it. It was a very fun time. She talked about her experience. She obviously can't go into detail about her experience as a gatecrasher, but she can talk about the emotional impact that it had. And so we talked about that a lot. Fun stuff there, even though it was also sad. But,
yeah, I was going to say, fun stuff. Okay, cool.
It was fun. We had a good conversation.
Really fun.
We also talked about Neopets and how she used to scam people out of their poor little pets and ruin their lives. So fun
Wow, she really does belong in the devil category.
Right? She also isn't a fan of sci-fi. Monster.
Monster.
All right.
That's Taran's definition of a monster.
Yeah.
What the?
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. This has been a very fun podcast. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Armstrong Taran. Brent is at One Lucky Gay. Melissa is at It's Melissa with 3 A's. Make sure you check out the RuPaul's Drag Race podcast that Brent is doing. Anything special coming up for that?
Really fun season. Gosh darn it, it's really fun. Season 10, obviously, just the queens that are on this season are really great. I encourage all of you who have not watched RuPaul's Drag Race before to watch it. We've only had one episode, and the person went home. You didn't miss much, but the first challenge was really fun, and it's hour and a half now with a half hour of behind the scenes stuff. So it's like we get, an hour and a half of Big Brother, and then we get like live feeds for like a half hour on television. Like, it's really fun. They show all of the behind the scenes stuff, and I enjoy it very much. And Liana and Mike and I are having a great time.
All right. For Brent and Melissa, I'm Taran Armstrong. #hearsay. We will see you next time.
Bye.